everyone, and welcome to WCO TV, where work and culture meet in our fast-paced game show you call That Culture? Our two contestants, Tim and Jojo, are competing to win a 6-month trip around the world. Here are the rules. Choose a category from any of our work-related cultural themes. If the answer is correct, we give the contestant a point. If the answer is incorrect, contestant number 2 can try to answer. Contestants, are you ready?
Let's have at her.
Looks like our first theme is before the job. Jojo, assume you are a small business owner who is hiring his own people.
Oh, I'm good at that. Last month, we have to hire for this position, and this guy we hired, you wouldn't believe what he did.
Thank you, Jojo, but let's get on with the question, shall we?
Right, I'm ready.
So, if you receive international resumes with the photos of the applicants, with personal information on them, like if they're married or not, how many kids they have, what would you do? Would you A, decide not to use the resumes because of Canadian international privacy laws? B, email the candidates and ask them to resubmit the resume without the personal information? Or C, create a standard resume template that you automatically email out with your job descriptions?
Well, we can't use the resumes because we would have already seen the personal information, right? So that rules out A and B. Besides, who has time to send out 100 replies to 100 job applicants? B is out for sure. I guess I would pick C because that solves the problem for the employer and tells the job applicant that he or she has to follow the format to get considered.
That is correct. C is the correct answer because it is not only helpful to the international applicant, but it is the least amount of work for the employer. This next question is for you, Tim, and your category is first hired. Here is your question. Assume you have just hired a candidate from Korea. You went through all the paperwork, and is there a lot of paperwork for that sort of thing here in Canada?
Oh, you bet. It's enough to drive you crazy. Sometimes people are waiting for months before they can come over.
So let's say the paperwork is done. You have your new employee and you're bringing him to the shop for the first time. What would be the best thing to do? Would you A, sit him down in a room with an employee handbook and video, then ask him questions about paycheck stubs, employee benefits, and OH&S safety standards? B, introduce him to the crew and show him around so he knows where to find things and who to report to? C, get him geared up with his work outfit, boots and gear, and send him over to his direct report supervisor?
Well, that's a tough one because you do need to do all those things. Maybe there's a better way to do A, though that sounds like a big chunk of information to take in all at once. But you have this legislation to follow for that too. Oh, I don't know, let me think.
Don't think too long, Tim, or I'll have to give your question to Jojo.
Okay, I got it. I pick C. Gear him up and send him to his supervisor.
Sorry, Tim, but that answer is incorrect.
What?
Jojo, what do you think?
I think we should give the guy the employee handbook, Tim. It's the law.
Also incorrect.
No way.
The correct answer is B. Introduce him to the crew and supervisors and give him a tour. People need to situate themselves in a new workplace, especially if they are from different countries or are as not comfortable with English. Make connections between people first. They also want to know where they'll be working, how to find the washroom, lunchroom, parking space, and things like that. The employee handbook needs to be explained, but they won't remember much of it that first day. Some workplaces are actually creating games for this kind of thing.
Games? At work? Crazy.
Hey, games to remember boring and technical stuff sounds like a pretty good idea to me, but audience, what do you think? Shall we give old Tim here another chance? I thought so. One more chance from the first hired theme. Tim, here's your chance to get a point. Now let's say you have a group of international workers from Mexico coming to your company and you want to get them used to the job. During the first month, would you, A, keep them all together so they feel more comfortable and can speak Spanish to each other when they don't understand something? B, assign them to different places where they have to learn the job in English? Or C, assign them work buddies to coach them and then make sure they are not all working together in the same area?
My guess is that if they have a buddy, they will have to make new friends outside of their culture, and that would be important for feeling settled and learning the job requirements, so I pick C.
Excellent, Tim. Employers often make the mistake of keeping people in the same language group together. Workplace English gets worse instead of better. Also, when people don't mix, they can form prejudices against other groups. This happens if newcomers haven't made at least one friend outside of their cultural group in their first 3 months of arrival. Well, that's all we have time for today, folks. Round 1 is now finished. And look at that, each of our contestants has 1 point. I wonder what will happen next time. Stay tuned for round 2 of You Call That Culture? Do our contestants have any closing words for our studio audience?
Yeah, hey, you employers and managers out there, don't worry too much if you have to spend a little time orienting your new international workers. You have to do that anyway for any new workers. Just think about it as part of the process.
And my advice to employers and managers is to think about what you personally would need to be able to do your job in another country. Think about how it would feel if you didn't understand the language, the jokes, the signs on the walls, the expressions on people's faces, and then plan for your new workers, keeping those things in mind. That has always worked for me.
Great advice, contestants. We'll see you next time on You Call That Culture.